serious, men of Reddit who have been raped by women, what's your story? Happened a few years ago. I had invited a friend over to cheer her up after her BF broke up with her. We went to bed together, she wanted to cuddle. Later that night I woke up to her riding me. No condom either, which she knew was a big no-no for me. I kept telling her no, but she wouldn't have any of it. Then a few weeks later she tells me she's late for her period and I'm one of the possible dads. The two others were her ex and a biker dude she banged a few days before she came to see me. Both of them with put protection, of course. So I also had to get tested for STDs and stress the fuck out for weeks until I asked her if she was pregnant or not, just for her to tell me that she forgot to mention that she got her period after all. I never went to the police about it because of the way the doctor and the nurse who did my blood tests treated me. I got outright laughed at by them. I'm good now though. I'm engaged to an amazing woman whom I love with all my heart and will trust to hell and back. Honestly, I think a test to be a doctor should be a patient coming in, saying that he was raped, somewhere during their early time in practice, and if they laugh or don't take it seriously they should immediately have their license revoked. I'm sick and tired of hearing this, meaning I'm sick of people who don't actually give a shit about people being doctors. I'm so glad you found your other half. That's hard to do. I'm so happy for you. Good luck on your continued journey to emotional freedom. It's a long struggle, but it's worth the fight in the end to be able to just let out a big sigh and feel the relief and hold your partner close. Honestly, from someone in progress to becoming a doctor, the ones who laughed at you were not supposed to be ideal doctors. A doctor's job is to tell the patient the disease, if there is one, treat it, and most importantly make them believe that they have done nothing wrong, if they have a disease. Also, they should never laugh at anyone's disease, no matter how ridiculous the doctor thinks it is. I was around 14 in boarding school in Nigeria. No alcohol or anything involved, and it was 4 girls in senior class and it was some sort of initiation to a gang. I went out to take a pee around midnight, yeah, the only option was by the bush that lake, remember weeing, and they attacked me from behind. They pinned me down and took rounds with me. Couldn't go anymore after the second girl, so they just beat me up pretty bad and left. Didn't say a word about it to anyone till this day. One of the girls was expelled a while later for being pregnant. They pinned in on her school boyfriend at the time. Something still tells me that kid is mine. P.S. I was very scrawny and scared to shit, so I don't scream for anything, plus one of them had a machete, tools we used to clear fields from wild grass etc. Bro, I'm so sorry to hear that. This is really fucked up. I'm so sorry that this happened to you. I hope you're in a better place now and that you have others that you can confide in when you feel comfortable. I was 14, and in 9th grade, with my girlfriend at the time. The relationship was still new, and I was a virgin, so I wasn't really in a hurry to have sex. Our school had half days once every month or so, and she brought me to her house on one of said half days. It was around November or December of that year, so around this time. I was a pretty heavy drinker ever since 7th grade. Shit had gone down with my dad, other family issues, school stress, etc. So I had started drinking fairly young. When we got to her house she gave me a drink. Then another. Then another. One thing I noticed was that she wasn't drinking at all, but at the time I just didn't think anything of it. Eventually she started kissing me and we made out, which was fine, we had done that before. If by made out you mean she latched onto my face like one of those face hugger things, then she started touching lower, which got some bodily reactions if you catch my drift, but I moved her hand away. To which she replied, "You're hard, you want it," and held me down. Now, she was a rather large girl, and I'm an incredibly scrawny guy. Combine that with the fact that I'm already a few drinks in, holding me down was no problem. I squirmed, I tried to push her off, but she just tore my clothes off and did her thing until she was done. Nobody was home, it was noon, so the neighbors probably weren't home to hear. All I could do was just lie there and take it. Afterwards she kicked me out of her house, texted me the following morning that we were breaking up, no shit, Sherlock, and to make it worse, started spreading a rumor amongst our mutual friends that I had raped her. This rumor spread across the entire school, and I was shunned for most of my high school career for something I didn't do. This whole event completely fucked me up. I developed a fear of being touched, I'm afraid to have sex again, and up until recently I was having constant nightmares about it every time I went to sleep. I hate bitches like her. You know, not to sound like an incel, but they take advantage of them being girls and make other girls look bad too, ones who really need the help. My best friend got me plastered drunk, and when I tried to say no she said, "Do you really think you can say no to me?" I didn't even know what had happened until she confessed that she had raped me. Edit, this read confusing to me, so to clarify. I don't remember it happening, or telling her no. I was blacked out. She confessed to me years later that she was sober enough to know what she was doing was wrong, knew I couldn't consent, and that I had tried to stop her and she forced me. I only remember waking up naked, with cuts on my back from her fingernails. Do you really think you can say no to me? When I was 18 or so, an acquaintance made a pass at me and I declined. I wasn't feeling it, she was a bit drunk and had something of a reputation. Not much longer after that I left the college we were at to head home. I'd been home for about 5 minutes when my back door swung open and she barged in screaming that no one was allowed to turn her down. After trying to reason with her for 5 minutes, I eventually decided that the last thing I needed was my mother waking up to a drunk co-ed in our house screaming that we needed to have sex, so I eventually scooted her off to my bedroom and went through the motions of foreplay/hooking up for the 15 minutes it took her to pass out. 20-some years later, and about the only memory of it I really have is the sickly sweet rancid smell of whatever peach wine she'd been drinking on her breath and her saying something like the rules of engagement for tonight, there will be no fluid exchange, before she took my penis in her mouth. There wasn't. It wasn't a flattering experience. That is so horrible and disgusting, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Obligatory note, this happened to a friend of mine, not to me. I have a gay friend. He's smart, fun to be with, and would generally be regarded as very good looking. He is also rather small, about 5 feet 4 inches or 5 feet 5 inches, I'd guess, though I think he wears lifts so I'm not sure. He's the kind of person with a big personality, so you don't notice his height so much. One thing that it took me a very long time to notice is that he is extremely nervous around women, particularly if they are taller and or stockier than he is. He's small and slim. I remarked on this to him a couple of times, but he always brushed it off. Eventually, though, he explained that he'd been raped by a woman at a party. He explained that she was taller and heavier than him, and had a similar female friend. Both of them found him attractive, and he implied to me that one of them clearly had a fetish for smaller men. The friend basically held him down in one of the bedrooms upstairs from the party. I think he'd gone upstairs to use the bathroom, while the woman pulled down his pants and raped him. I believe this was oral and vaginal sex. For obvious reasons I didn't ask about the details. I asked him why he hadn't gone to the police, but he explained that he didn't believe that they would help. I have the impression that he had approached the crisis center at his college, but they seem to have brushed it off. I don't know why. From what I can work out, the experience left him badly traumatized, and he continues to be very uncomfortable around women. He doesn't really talk about it though. I only learned about this because I happened to press him on the issue. It does seem a terrible thing to have to endure, though. Unfortunately, a lot of the crisis centers at colleges are of the mindset that men are bad, and that only women can be raped. Now before someone tries to rip me apart, I did say a lot, not all. There are definitely exceptions to this. Did your friend see a therapist after this? Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox, guaranteed.